recordings, along with the unofficial minutes of the meetings, will be posted as soon as practical on the board's website. Visit rtd-denver.com and scroll to the bottom of the page for the link to the Board of Directors page. Directors and members of staff, for the sake of the record, if you would like to be acknowledged during tonight's proceedings, I would ask you to please raise your virtual hand and wait for me to call you before you proceed to speak. Speaking out of turn will only add confusion to the record and to the proceedings. Directors and staff participating by phone can also raise their virtual hands to indicate that they would like to speak by pressing *9. To toggle your mute setting on the phone, press *6. I would now like to call the roll for the committee. Please indicate that you are here. First, Director Bob Broom.
Present.
Director Peggy Catlin.
Here.
Director Shelley Cook.
Here.
Director Eric Davidson.
Here.
Director Bobby Deschel.
Here.
Director Lynn Geisinger.
Here.
And I'm Troy Whitmore, and I am present as well. Additionally, we have 3 board members that have joined us that are not on the committee and not voting members of the committee. They are Chair Vince Busick, Kate Williams, and Angie Rivera Malpietti. At RTD, safety is paramount, and I'd like to begin this meeting with a short safety briefing. As a reminder, the Transit Security Administration, TSA, has extended the federal mask requirement for public transportation until March 18th of 2022. The federal mask requirement states that individuals must wear a face covering while waiting for and while riding public transportation, to include airports and aircraft, train stations, trains and bus stops, and buses. So the first item on the agenda this evening is the selection of the committee chair and vice chair. As discussed by the executive committee last week, for just this first meeting, I will facilitate the election, and once both seats are filled, turn over the meeting to the new committee chair. Unlike the executive committee election process, which uses secret ballots for the election of board officers or committee leadership appointments, we will proceed with open nominations, discussion, and vote by the full committee. We will begin with selection of the chair and then vice chair. We will allow up to 3 minutes for those board members who nominate a candidate. Those seconding nominations as well, if there are any. And any other members who wish to speak regarding the candidates can speak. I will then call for a vote, and the candidate with the most votes will be appointed. If only one director is nominated, the committee may proceed by acclamation, and that director will be appointed chair. All right, so I will start by asking for nominations for committee chair. Director Catlin. You're muted. There you go.
Thank you, Director Whitmore. I would like to nominate Director Eric Davidson for the position of chair of this finance committee. He has served as the vice chair of the Finance Administration and Audit Committee for the past year, and I have enjoyed working with Eric and have appreciated his great ideas and knowledge. As vice chair of the Financial Administration and Audit Committee, he worked collaboratively with me and with the committee, with the CEO and general manager, and with other members of staff to begin to address RTD's internal audit issues. He's been serving on the Reimagine RTD Advisory Committee for the past year, and he has regularly attended all RTD board meetings, all RTD committee meetings on which he served, and numerous community and stakeholder hosted meetings. Prior to RTD, he had formed and led a coalition of citizens in the city and county of Broomfield that worked with city and county officials to develop an accurate financial valuation of the working and mineral interests of a major oil and gas operation. I believe he was asked to do so by then Mayor Pat Quinn. He has vast business experience that includes being a founder, employee, advisor, and investor in a variety of businesses, including serving in C-suite roles. So with that, Mr. Acting Chair, I would like to nominate Eric Davidson. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Catlin. Any seconds or further discussion on the candidacy of Director Davidson? Are there other nominations? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Director Geisinger. You're muted, Lynn.
Yeah, I would just be happy to second that nomination. I work with Eric. I talk with him often, since we both represent parts of Boulder County and areas up here. He's so smart and so focused on the financial pieces that in whatever he's working on, his jobs and at RTD. So I think he'd be a great chair.
Thank you, Director Geisinger. All right, are there any other nominations for the role of chair of the Finance and Planning Committee? Going once, going twice. It appears there are no other nominees. A motion to proclaim Eric Davidson chair of the committee by acclamation would be in order. If someone would do that duty, please.
So
So
moved.
moved,
Michelle.
Director Broom.
All right, and I believe we had Director Deschelle on the second. Thank you very much. All right, all those in favor of appointing Eric Davidson as the chair of the Finance and Planning Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Motion carried, and congratulations, Eric Davidson. Director Davidson will be our new chair of the Finance and Planning Committee. All right, one more chore for me before I hand it over, Eric. So get your gavel warmed up, your vocal cords ready to go. All right. All right. The next item of business is the nomination election of the vice chair of the Finance and Planning Committee. Do I have any nominations? Director Davidson, sorry, I couldn't see your hand.
No problem. Thank you, Treasurer Whitmore. And thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. I would like to nominate first chair, Director Peggy Catlin, and just give you a little bit of background as to why. She has served RTD as the chair of the Finance Administration and Audit Committee for 1 year in 2021, during which time I had the pleasure of working very closely with her. She also had served as the first vice chair for the board of directors for 2 terms in 2019 and 2020. She also was chair of the GMOC and the Executive Search Committee to find new general manager and CEO, which I think we all agree was a success. In addition to that, Peggy has a strong understanding of public sector finance. Aside from her work here at RTD, Peggy also served as the acting CFO for CDOT for 6 months during a transitionary period, something that I know and can personally attest has certainly served her well in her time here. She presented the agency's budget to the Joint Budget Committee of the Colorado General Assembly. I can tell everybody from having the pleasure of working carefully and closely with her that she cares very deeply about the success of this agency and ensuring that we'll make lives better through connections, not just now, but sustainably and in perpetuity, which I think is very important and material to this committee. I've had the opportunity to work with her and really admire her pragmatism and collaborative spirit. I really love that Peggy serves in leadership and critical roles because she's asked by others to serve, and she willingly rises to those occasions selflessly. I know that that's something we all respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Davidson. Is there a second to the nomination or any other comments? All right, seeing none, are there other nominations for the role of Vice Chair of the Finance and Planning Committee? One more time, other nominees? Okay, apparently not. So a motion to proclaim Director Catlin as Vice Chair by acclamation would be in order.
So moved. Michelle.
All right,
Second.
I heard Director Deschelle as the movement and Director Geisinger as the second. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor of the election of Peggy Catlin for the position of Vice Chair, please say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried, and congratulations, Director Catlin, on your second major role here for 2002 at RTD. So with that, I do appreciate your indulgence in me limping through this meeting, and I am very pleased to turn over the rest of the meeting duties over to Chair Eric Davidson. Congratulations to you Director Davidson and Director Catlin as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer Whitmore. Much appreciated, and thank you very much to the committee here. It's an honor. I'll do my best. So here we go. We're going to now move into the public comment section of our meeting. This public comment period is a new addition to our committee agendas, and I would like to open it to anyone who would like to address the committee. If you would like to speak and have not already done so, please either raise your virtual hand or press *9 on your phone. Staff will unmute you when it is your turn to speak. If you are dialed in, press *6 to toggle your mute settings. Please bear in mind that by participating in this process, you are being recorded. So if you do not wish to be recorded, then your comments will have to be submitted in writing, and you will have the opportunity to speak this evening, and you'll not have the opportunity to speak this evening. If any speaker has documentation or reference materials for this committee, please email those materials to the board office at the following email address: rtd.boardoffice@rtd-denver.com. During this time, the committee will not offer any comments or responses. Directors or staff may contact speakers following their comments if they raise matters that lend themselves to follow-up. Speakers should begin their remarks by stating their names. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. Speakers, please refrain from any profane or obscene speech. Please direct your comments to the committee as a whole, and please refrain from any personal attacks. Ms. McManus or Tai Shrey, would you mind seeing if we have anybody in the queue? I'm not seeing anyone.
I see no one in the queue from the attendee side that wishes to speak.
Okay. Thank you. With no participants in the queue, we will close the public comment period at this time. We'll now move into another new section of our agenda. This is information for external entities. This agenda is also new to the committee outline. In the future, if the committee has outside presenters or speakers, they will fall under this category and can address the committee at the beginning of the meeting instead of at the end. With the process improvement change that we've made, the committee will be more thoughtful and considerate of any outside presenters' time. Moving into our recommended actions, we have one recommended action this evening on the agenda. Our first recommended action is the rail repair budget transfer. Before getting into discussion or presentation, do we have a motion?
So moved, Director Broom.
I have Director Broom as the mover.
Second.
And Director Catlin is the second. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask staff to present any pertinent information regarding the action. Noting that the action was included in the packet, directors had time to ask questions of staff offline. Please raise your virtual hand and wait to be recognized to speak after the presentation, and please state your name for the record each time that you speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is Doug McLeod, Chief Financial Officer. Congratulations to you, Mr. Chair, as well as Vice Chair Catlin. Look forward to working with you, continuing our work together. This action item seeks board approval to do a budget transfer of $589,000 from the unrestricted fund to the 20th and Welton project. This project has been completed in 2021. The project was actually completed in 2021, but during 2021, the initial project at 20th and Welton was to replace rail in the downtown loop area. That project scope expanded due to a fire in electric vault, as well as damage to some cabling that supplies the electricity to the rail system. That scope expanded, went through the change control board, and at the time in 2021, when that scope expanded, the change control board identified funding to finance these repairs, including a CDOT FASTER grant. It was later determined that the project itself was not eligible under this FASTER grant, and normally we would carry funds forward in the budget appropriation process year over year in the fiscal year. We did not do that and are asking the board to do a budget transfer. That funding actually fell into the unrestricted fund that was available, the 589,000. We're simply asking the board to do a fund swap by moving that funding back out of the unrestricted fund to be available for this project. And that concludes my remarks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. McLeod. Appreciate it. And likewise, look forward to continuing the work together. At this time, I'll ask those directors who wish to speak to raise your virtual hands, and I'll call you on you in turn. I don't believe we have any directors calling into the meeting, but if we do, you can press *9 to speak. Any questions? Thank you. Given that we've got no questions or discussion, I'm going to go ahead and ask, we have the mover as Director Broom, the second as Director Catlin. Are there any no votes on this action? All right, with 7 ayes, 0 noes, and 0 abstentions, the motion passes. We will now move into discussion items portion. There are no discussion items tonight, so we'll move on to other matters. Are there any other matters that directors would like to raise at this time? Well, how about that? Oh, there we go. All right, Director Deschel.
Thanks, Director Davidson. As of late, given certain circumstances that have happened across the state, I know that we have had a number of individuals impacted by a lack of insurance or not updating their insurance frequently enough to ensure the payout is there. I know that in some circumstances our agency is self-insured, but I think it would be prudent to where we aren't self-insured, make sure that our insurance matches the value of the asset each year, and keep making sure that's updated. It doesn't need to be now unless there's a quick response, but just would appreciate an update knowing that that process is in place for us to continue to have updated insurance values, so that in the case of an emergency, we would be able to make a full claim for the value of our assets.
Thank you, Director Deschel. CEO and General Manager Johnson, did you want to respond to that at all?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Director Deschel, for posing that question. Each year on an annual basis, we look at our assets and make a determination, and recognizing we want to minimize risks to the enterprise. That has been done. General Counsel Snyder, under her auspices with her risk management team, we do look at that. So I would ask Ms. Snyder to comment briefly, because I believe that'll address the question that Director Deschel has put forward.
Yes, thank you, CEO and GM Johnson. Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yes, this is Melanie Snyder, General Counsel. So yes, our risk manager is in constant assessment of all of our property and all of our assets. We are right in the middle of renewing our property insurance. And so that is something that we are assessing on a continuous basis.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Director Deschel, that answered great. See the thumbs up. Excellent. Any other matters to come before the committee this evening? All right. Very short meeting. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate the time here. Our next meeting date will be Tuesday, February 8th, 2022. With no other discussion items, the meeting will be adjourned at 5:50 p.m. Mountain Time. Thank you very much.
Good night. Thank you.
Hi, everybody.